VC comes, they have a mandate, they have a time frame, they're looking for a return, so they want to flip. So they will invest and they would have a time frame, maybe 7 years, 8 years or 10 years by the time they want to have an exit. So what happens is when they come, they would want that you should show explosive growth and show them an exit. So exit could be either you do an IPO or your valuation is increased and they sell it to somebody else. Unlike that, we don't put any pressure. We have understood, we have created a very sound business. What we want is that you should create value rather than just the valuation. So though we have a VC-like agreement, but that's normally locked in a drawer. As long as you're doing well, we don't put any pressure on the exit. We would love if you grow and IPO would be perfectly fine. If you are growing and you need capital in the second or third stage, we are more than glad to help you out there itself and take more of the company if the company is doing well. So that's one basic difference, is that we are not there to flip, we are there to partner with you in your growth story. And second thing is that because our mandate is consumer internet, that is something which we have done. We bring a lot of learnings onto the table. Our belief is that as far as the online internet business in India is concerned, there are certain hygiene factors which are now there in terms of marketing, the way you market yourself, the kind of SEO strategy you have, the kind of mobile strategy you have, kind of social strategy you have, kind of things that you have to be careful about as far as the product development is concerned in terms of sales. We have Naukri, so we have done B2B. We have now Jeevan Sathi, we have resume services, so we know how to sell as far as telesales are concerned. So we have a fair idea about that. So not only we bring money to the table, we also bring expertise. In fact, that is my Khare. I spend 30% of my time in the company in which we have invested. We roll up our sleeves and actually get our hand dirty and trying to help you out. But having said that, it's your baby. You know how to run it best. So our things that we advise, we don't control. We try not to control. We want to have your free hand. But any point of time you need any advice, any things, we are there, because many of the aspects that we'll be dealing with, about which you may not have an idea, we have done it in some other business that we have. So we help you out there. Yes, if you're going to buy insurance, you can go give your requirement, and they'll tell you the various options that you have, and you can pick up the best out of that. So it's completely consumer facing, and it's growing rapidly. It's doing very well. We have invested close to 20 crores in that business. Another business that we have invested is Merit Nation, which is into school content for class KG to 12th. Right now it's only from 6th class to 12th. And we have invested close to 10 crore in that business so far, so close to $2 million there. And the third business we have invested is Foodie Bay, which is into aggregation of restaurant listings. So what they have done a fantastic job of putting all the menus and the ratings. So they have a lot of UGC going, user-generated content going on their side. So we have invested close to $1 million there. So again, as I said, the domains are very different, but all of them are consumer facing, all of them are based on the internet. So that's our approach.
What has the area that entrepreneurs require? Because 70% of the time is spent in trade.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is a portfolio of three companies.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of investment in terms of mentoring time that what is it that challenge you face with your mentoring that places?
See, the biggest thing is that what happens is on the internet side, your product is your website, so you need to ensure that everything goes well there. So in terms of UI, user interface, whether you have properly tested it or not, the kind of SEO strategy, whether it's searchable, what kind of traffic you're getting, are you getting the right kind of traffic or not. So we have a lot of expertise there. We are one of the biggest spender on the Google AdWords. So we can really help people in ensuring they are spending their marketing money very well. We run the contradiction in Indian online industry is that though you have an online industry, you sell offline. You can't. Indian online thing is not so established where you can have just a website and hope that the money will flow in. You still have to go out and sell it. And that is something which Naukri has done extremely successfully. We have a sales team of more than 800 people. We are in 20 cities with 50 offices. And what we normally see is that when an entrepreneur comes, he has a fantastic idea, but he has no experience of selling. And we add a lot of value there. Okay, what kind of sales structure you should have, what kind of incentive structures you should have. So we help a lot there. For Jeevan Sathi and resume services, we run a call center of more than 200 people, so we have a lot of expertise there. So for example, both Merit Nation and Policy Bazaars are using our learnings in their call center. So we have been there, we have done that. So as far as that part is concerned, we are able to help them a lot. Plus we have a lot of relationships, there are a lot of doors we can open up for them because of the Naukri and because of Jeevan Sathi.
So in general to the panel, just two questions. So in general to the panel, how critical is taking external funds?
See,
self-funding can work.
See, my belief is that, and I'm coming from a very limited mandate as far as the consumer internet is concerned. My sense is that as far as creating the site and the POC, the proof of concept is concerned, that should be done internally. You should not be raising money to do that. So that is something I think this boy was. I don't know whether you are a boy or what's your age? You are very deceptive.
No, I'm 15.
15, okay, so you are a boy. So as far as the POC is concerned, that is something we should do it through your friend and family. The angel funding should come from there. Once you have a POC, and according to me, the POC is there when at least 50% of your revenue starts coming either from the referrals or from the renewals. Because by the time, then you should have the confidence of going and raising money. You should not go and raise money just for the idea. I mean, you will unnecessarily dilute yourself, it doesn't make sense. So have a POC, get some traction, get some traffic, get some repeat business. That is the time when you should actually start thinking in terms of raising money, because then it's the time when you really want to take it to the next level. At that point of time, simply because you need to ensure, because if your idea is getting traction and you are not raising money, you are opening yourselves to getting eaten up, or there is somebody else who will come up with a deeper pocket who will wipe you out.
You need it for competitive pressure.
Exactly. You need to create barriers. Once you have an idea, you have seen some traction, you have to start creating barriers. And the barriers will be created if you have the mass. Once you are the market leader, once you have the thought leader in that space, you will make it difficult for the others to come in. Because in this kind of business, because it's consumer facing, there is a cost of acquiring a customer. So what you need to do that before the competition really catches on, you need to ensure there are enough customers you already have, and you raise the barrier for them to get the new customers. Because by the time you will have a traction, you will start getting some of the traffic organically, which will help you, and inorganic traffic you will increase the cost for the other people to come in.
Any specific questions, sir?
Yeah. Siddhartha, basically, I'm not a very money-minded person. Like, I used to work in properties at a very early stage. I started working with one of my cousins at the age of 17 and kind of worked with him for 2-3 years. At a very young age, earned a little money, not much. And then my interest was education and environment, so I just left everything and started working for it. So, how do you see, okay, now, it's very simple in Chandigarh, the property rates keep on, getting low and then again high, and so a very nice place to even in fact earn money. So what is the role of getting an external investing in your business? For example, like if I am, the example you gave that if I bought 4 lots, say, right? So what is the deal that you get money from outside? Is it just to, double the size of business, that is instead of 4 plots you're buying 8? Is that the only reason, or do you see some other reason behind it?
Sure. I just gave you an example. Firstly is you need to understand I did this because I am very fascinated by architecture. I really like it. I read a lot, and when I say fascinated, when I visit countries, I actually go about understanding what the architecture is like and try and get as much data as possible. So real estate for me is not about money, but there is money associated with it now because I'm doing a business there. So my passion for real estate doesn't stem from the fact that it churns money, but it's basically because I'm drawn into it, because I love conceiving a plan, whether it's we don't do homes anymore, which is where I started from, whether it was conceiving a small house plan or a flat, to how I'm doing a small township and a resort now. I love the actual, I really enjoy the developing part of it. I enjoy interacting with the creative guys, whether it's landing the best, design house for doing something particular in the mountains who had that specialty, or getting the best architectural, inputs from somebody who's maybe in Austria or Switzerland, who understands the mountain terrain, or even the new techniques. So it's very different from where I come. Whatever you do or anybody else, I think firstly you have to believe in the idea. You have to be extremely passionate about it, to the extent that it should be in your mind, in your senses all the time, sleeping, walking. I mean, because that's how I feel about all my businesses. We are pretty much diversified right now, but it has to take over you for you to get into something. If education and schooling or I don't know what anything else is what you really want to be in, then and you need to understand that you need to meet and educate yourself. You need to meet people who are in that line. You need to educate yourself first that what is exactly that you need and what is exactly that you want to do here in this space, because the space would have varied sectors in it, and which is your sweet spot. Because so many times what happens in your age is, because I did a couple of things and you start them and then you realize that it's not your cup of tea. One, because you're struggling with it. Two, because you never were very passionate about it. A lot of ideas come into your head because the next guy is doing it and the next guy has been successful at it, and you might want to try it out. So that's not your idea. So you really need to be aligned with yourself first to understand what you really want to do. You need to be in tune, in sync with your own thoughts first, that this is what I really is going to thrill me and this is what I want to build. Raising capital should not be the idea at all. I don't believe in that. I was giving you my example because I actually wanted to graduate from what I was doing. And if it was 4 lots now, I didn't want to do 5 lots. I wanted to do a township, which was or a resort, which was in a couple of acres. So I could only fund it to the extent that I had capabilities of. I realized that it would be easier to raise capital from outside. I was smarter. I realized there were a lot of examples around me where people went bust because they didn't part with equity, but they raised debt from financial institutions, and they went bust because a couple of factors are not in your hand, which is the market factors are not in your hand. Doing real estate in India also, the government is a huge role, because these are the policies keep changing, and what if the government changes? A lot of other things are which are going to impact your project. So I said, I learned from others. I didn't want to get sued by the banks. I didn't want to get called in for not paying somebody's money back. So I did a smarter thing. I said, I've conceived this plan. I think it's going to make money. End of it, everybody's going to put in money if they think yes, there's something that, whether it's bankable or sellable. First of all, your idea has to be sellable and bankable. I said, I don't mind giving equity away, because I don't mind giving more equity away. For the first project that I did, I took money in and I said, all right, I'm going to manage it. You take 60% of it. But my models are very different. What we do is we create a separate entity for each project. That project is only going to manage that. So I'm only infusing that much capital that I need for it. I parted with more equity to understand it. And now as I become more confident, I don't part with that much of equity, because now my pockets are deeper and I understand the business more. So my risk-taking appetite is bigger. So now I even take that funding, because I know now I can manage it. And even if my cycle is not working for about a year plus, I know I can take care of the debt. I'm comfortable enough to pay the EMIs. Because there's a cost to this. So you need to do your homework, and you're here for the fun of it, not to get stressed. So you need to enjoy this, and you should not be in a rush. I'm 36 now, but I meet a lot of youngsters like you. Everybody is in such a rush to just nail it in the first 2-3 years. It doesn't have to work like that. You have to give it. You have to have a long vision. And you have to nurture it like a kid. So you need to keep slab for 5 years plus each for it to actually be successful and for you making a good go at it. Anything else? I hope I've answered. Sure.
Siddhartha, my question is to you. I really admire the passion you have for real estate, building up things. I'm just curious to know, how do you see your passion being converted into value addition for the customers? How any project you do out of passion, how is it different from any project a guy does who doesn't have any passion?
Sure, this is a great question. I'll tell you, initially I wanted to raise money for low-cost housing because I thought that's a huge play in India and there's a huge demand, and it's like you actually can give something back to the society. What ironically happened is that when I went out to raise money and I shared my thoughts and my ideas with my friends, family, or whomever I thought is going to infuse a little capital in me or the project, nobody was. It never appealed to anybody, sadly so. But I realized that early for myself. So I did the reverse. I created a business model for creating a very high-end product. And because the people I was meeting, I realized that this appeals to them. It's what they immediately is going to attract them. So I created a very high-end model, and it worked for me. I raised money from that. Now when you're saying what does the customer get and what's the value that I create for the customer, the value created in that was obviously whatever we tried to do even in that was we were trying to actually, it wasn't a farce. I actually brought in the best team, the best technology and the consultants to put together a very good model. So there was a value for the end customer there as well. But what's happened over the years is my idea of doing budget or low-key homes is not that, it doesn't come to my head now. Today when I'm more comfortable, I've tied up with one of the largest developers from Mexico. And we are planning to set up something which is in budget and low-key housing. We're going to do about 600 apartments in the first phase, starting from, I think, October onwards. So I still believe in that. I still believe in creating value. Is there something I'm missing? You wanted to ask? Yeah.
That's a question on
That sounds great.
funding session,
Yeah.
so let's stick with that.
Yeah.
So what is it that are you taking debt financing or are you taking equity-based financing?
No, what we're doing is, see, you have to leave enough on the table for the other guy also to benefit. Because you can't be greedy in a venture, especially when you're collaborating, whether you're taking money or parting with some equity. What we are doing is, it's very simple. I'm not a construction company. I'm not even a developer. I conceive ideas. I create a business model. What we are doing is we are bringing in our land in, and the construction is going to be taken care of by my other partners, which is the conglomerate I'm tying up with. What we've done is we are going to put a value on the land as on date. What the value of the land is, where I'm already giving my investors some kind of an increment because we invested in the asset about a year and a half back. It's gained about 40% in value because the market is good, not otherwise. And we've done a little bit of development on it for it to actually come up. We've got the conversions done, so the conversions add a little bit more value to it. So I'm giving a licensed, approved parcel of land, which is not raw now, but it's an approved parcel to this developer who has an expertise of actually developing and giving 60,000 homes a year worldwide. So he's got expertise in actually giving end-to-end finished homes to customers, and the number is huge. So I know that he can actually finish this project not in 3 years, which would have taken any other guy here, but he's got to close it in a year and a half. So I am willing to pay him a little more but I know I'm going to get the product and the project off within a year and a half. And he's going to invest the remaining 20% cash flow that you need for it to take off, and remaining is obviously going to be by sales and selling the apartments. But the model here is either the other way I could have worked it was that I since it's a approved project, I could have raised debt funding on it by a bank or another institution, infused in capital, kept a little equity, more equity for ourselves. So we are working on a 60-40 ratio now because they're going to be investing far more than what the land is valued at. But ultimately, we're going to take a 40% split out of the profits. So that's what we are doing. So you need to be very open to the idea where you're seeking funds from, because it's not always going to go or work your way. So you need to be open and flexible.
Relating had a question on the invention. Like how do you go from an invention to funds? And what do we see?
Yeah, I think Mr. Arora gave me a small answer to that about the business plan. Now, even if you have given the business plan to the company, to the investor, still what? They want the company, they want you to flow the company,